can't see it because this room it's now a foot of debris. And
Happy February break, parents.
it's like in other there is an invisible glacier in this house.
Of chaos?
A invisible glacier gathering up and moving elements in rubble and papers around the house, including this room behind us, in this room. But I'm going to say something to you, regardless of that house.
It's next door to this room, you know.
Yes, that's right. The glacier is called Anson. I want to say something to you about this room, even though there's a foot of debris. You guys will see more. All the camera angles are depending on how much trash you can see and how fat we are. So that's why they change sometimes. But I'm sorry, Alice. And I wish sometimes that our entire house was like immaculate. Maybe when we make more money, we can have somebody help us make it immaculate. And once we get one of those little dumpsters that you can get taken away. But I love this room. I love this room. It makes me so happy to be in here. I love this freaking room. I love broadcasting. I love doing my radio show from this room. It's like unbelievable. It's comfortable. It's got all the things I need. It's small. It's got interesting stuff in here that I've gathered that is on a rotating basis, makes its way around the house.
Some artwork, actually, by the glacier that's hanging up there.
There's artwork
Isn't
by
that
the glacier?
Him?
Oh, it is.
Isn't that one
this
by
is
him?
by Anson. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I wanted to get Toast's book. We have to plug Toast's book.
Yeah, which our kids have been enjoying quite a bit,
It's right downstairs.
actually.
We should post it up here, somewhere in here. Yeah, we'll do that, Toast. I forgot about that. I want to, and then we'll do a canon interview with you that we'll play here and on my radio show as well.
Our very own Toast of Burn Barrel and Twitter and everywhere else has a children's book out.
Yeah. If you don't
illustrated
know her,
with her
yes.
watercolor.
Toast is the original yacht bunny. Is she a redhead or a blonde?
I think a blonde.
This is originally yacht bunny, a hot blonde from Reading, parents' money.
She's also just awesome.
Hold on, Alice.
Okay.
I'm starting in priority of what I find important.
All right. Okay.
Great, grew up literally a yacht bunny, obviously courted by the, all sorts of, influential and powerful, handsome men. Married an influential and powerful, handsome man. Great guy. But she's also been, even before I think I started this podcast, Toast has been, her real name is Maryland. Her Toast has been writing for a long time. She's writing little pieces that are in the Newburyport News.
Yeah, like reflections on life and things.
Exactly. Yeah. And she wrote for me, for the Lowell Sun, wrote some pieces as well. And she's a great writer and a smart and stylish person. She's got a beautiful family and beautiful grandkids. And they've done it. She's done everything right. I would like to find or know that there was some part of your life that you didn't execute perfectly. But anyway, she wrote a book, which I haven't read. Alice has read it. But knowing her other writing and her style and the way she illustrates, etc., I assume is fantastic.
It is fantastic.
And she's awesome people. Some of you guys met her.
Yes. They're saying in the chat. They're singing her praises in the chat.
And they have a cool cyber truck, which one of my sons wants to check out and see. And he's got a great... I just want to be them, Alice.
Okay, I'm sorry that I'm not as good as
But I was, at 27, face down in the bathroom of the Beacon Hill pub, and Mr. Toast was, getting several degrees and learning to be great at everything. And so this is what happens. You should think about getting a divorce, Alice. There's still a chance for you in the world. You could have, like the Toast has, they have a 2-story high Christmas tree. You could have that.
I know. I've always wanted a big Christmas tree. My sister has a house where she can have a super tall Christmas tree.
Yes. Right up the street, as a matter of fact.
And we live in, Christmas tree, cut your own Christmas tree territory. So.
I know. Ugh.
Maybe my next husband will cut down Christmas trees with me.
I would hope so.
On cute photogenic family outings like that.
I would hope so.
And not have a tinsel white sad one.
Well, the good thing is, Alice, is that we still have a Christmas tree, and it's lying sideways in the driveway. And it's on the Christmas tree stand because the kids couldn't get it out of the stand, so I just dragged it out of here. It scraped the floors.
And who else?
Scraped the floors. Every day that I could burn it, it's been windy, so I can't burn it because people are watching me burn stuff now. So the burn barrel is a tougher thing to do. I'll just have to just get blotto and some night just go out there and burn everything. Burn the whole damn town down.
Are we
Still have a
glad to
legacy.
mention the video you found on your phone?
Of the fire pit?
Mhm.
Sure.
Tom recently rediscovered a video on his phone of when I took the kids to church camp and he had the fellas over, and our outdoor motion activated cameras caught some irresponsible fire behavior outside.
Oh, yeah.
Like 10-foot tall flames.
It was a mushroom cloud at one point. It was amazing. It was amazing. And funny.
If we're lucky, there was a house for me and the kids to come back to, honestly.
The person who was in charge of that fire was the drunkest. The rest of the people, including me, had all passed out. So it was a bad situation waiting to happen. In retrospect, it would have been a blessing had the house burned down and all of us burned alive in it. You wouldn't have been there, but you would have got insurance
that was
money.
the lead stuff too. So that would have been, we would have been free and clear.
All right. Do you want to start with your AI thing?
Yeah, so I sent us this today to the family group chat because I use AI stuff a lot at work, but I was kind of blown away by this video that came up yesterday. Someone shared it with me. This dude's he's like having a vibe coding session or whatever. And he's using his AI language model, and he does like where he talks to it and it does a speech to text thing. And he creates using this. The whole video is 10 minutes long. If you want to find it, you can search for it. It's on Twitter. But it's crazy because he has the AI in this 10-minute video create essentially a duplicate of the Airbnb website that works with a back end.
That's amazing. It's functional?
It's functional. It has like a little back end database with some houses in it that it can pull from, and it works to pull up the houses, and you can like click them and pull up houses. It's 10 minutes. I'm sure there's stuff that would need to be cleaned up by like a real coding engineer.
Can it process payment?
I don't know if he went that far. He was more doing like the putting the houses on there.
Right. Okay.
But 10 minutes. 10 minutes, a functional website. It makes a front end, and he's like, okay, now like pull from a database of houses so these houses are like findable in here, and like it. And you should just play the very final part of this video because he's doing this and he has this whole set up, but even he's surprised that it's worked. And I still get that feeling when I'm doing like much, much less sophisticated stuff because I'm an idiot. But I still like get this weird, like blown away, am I cheating feeling when I stick stuff into an LLM and it spits out code and I put it into what I'm doing and like magically the stuff I want comes out. It's an insane feeling. And if you are not working in a field where you are fortunate enough to be working with LLMs right now, we are living in a crazy time. And I know this is like a little off our normal politics stuff.
What's an LLM?
Large language model, like all these like ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok and
okay,
but it's crazy because everybody's using them for all this like writing stuff, but I still think it's like not in the mainstream understanding how nuts these things are with code.
So do you want me to play the last minute?
See if you can see where he finds like, let's see if
I can do only no time signatures. Where do you want? Last minute?
Yeah, try the last minute of the video.
Oh,
because yeah, if you haven't like had the chance to work with these, like to do code, you do not understand that
commands. And if I go to the app, if I refresh this, okay, we have all of our homes. Now, if I refresh this is the Airbnb. Holy shit, it works. Okay, so now we have a working Airbnb clone that's connected to a monorepo in our backend API, and the majority of the work was just me waiting for Cursor to generate the code. This actually is insane because you have a working app with a backend, you have auth. Like, I am surprised at how well this worked, and it's actually really fast. So I have all of this here. Wow. Yeah, well, that was it. That's my vibe coding session for today, was creating a fully functioning, full stack Airbnb clone that looks like this. Yeah, that's it.
So, and if you like go and watch this whole video, you can like he's telling him what to do. He's saying like, okay, here's the website. This is what it looks like, and then he'll go like, oh, can you fix some of these, like filters aren't working. He'll just say a couple things to it, and it's like, oh, sorry. And you're like, oh, I think you're getting too complicated with this query.
So you just
go
talked
back.
your way through the whole thing.
Yeah. He literally talks to it, and it built an entire website on its own. And this isn't like, just a goofing around tiny app to do nothing. It's like you can really make stuff. And you have to...
Without doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know what you're doing a little bit.
Is this stuff proprietary? Does Grok own it?
No, you pay like a monthly fee to use these things. Yeah, to use Grok and use these tools, and what it spits out belongs to you or to whoever. But yeah, like you can just make stuff. And yeah, you probably need somebody who knows what they're doing to like smooth out bugs and like little
and file down rough edges. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but the idea that all the grunt work of coding, of like knowing languages and this like step-by-step stuff is just, I mean, maybe not over right now today, but the cable news hosts didn't know they were over a few years ago either.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? This is over. Newspapers didn't know they were over in 2010. They thought there was like something going to happen. But
right. Well, is this so by the way, does I know Macromedia doesn't exist, but does Dreamweaver still exist?
I don't know.
It's the thing to build websites from. It's 20 years old.
No,
so.
I don't use it. I don't know.
No, actually, all the websites became GoDaddy, like drag and drop things that were almost done for you. So there's almost no reason for anybody to know how to code.
But those drag and drop website builders are going to be pointless in 10 years. That's nobody will need that because they're going to talk into their phone and say, "Can you build me a nice professional website that looks like blah 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 blah?" And like,
if you can conjure it all up, and between that and like 3D printers, you are changing everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
and people look at it and say like, well, it's going to put people out of work, but also the productivity increase is insane. Like even just, I was dealing with SQL stuff this weekend and going through things and like.
SQL stuff is Microsoft
database
server.
Queries. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like pulling data and getting it into a format, somewhere out in some cloud exists a bunch of data of like every time every person clicked an email and what email they clicked and what time they clicked it. And, and then somewhere else is like a record of everybody who opened an email and what email it was. So then I pull it and I go like, okay, give me the total of everybody who clicked this email on this day and opened this email on this day and like, whatever.
Right. Anytime you do something on the internet, there's server-side functionality that's happening.
Whenever you're like pulling data from a database and repurposing it into a new little chart, you can use SQL to do that. And like, yes, could I probably have written all this stuff out if I wanted to? Yeah, but like how much of a time saver is it that I can just feed like the names of my tables and stuff into ChatGPT and say, can you write me this? And it spits out a 200-line SQL query that I don't have to like type in.
Does it debug itself?
Sometimes if you paste it in and you get an error and you go like, oh, it said this, and it'll go like, boop, bop, boop.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh yeah, you're right. I forgot we were using Snowflake and Snowflake wants me to use this syntax.
Does it communicate like that? It's conversational?
Yeah. I had to tell mine. I'm such a dork, but it was like really big on using emojis. And I said, can you like stop using emojis and sounding so enthusiastic? Because you're like kind of bothering me. Because it would be like, I'd be like, okay, that worked. Now can you add this? And it would be like, yeah, rocket ship emojis. Now let's see if we can. I was like, tone it down, bro. Like, chill. Because I didn't want that sort of tone, but it will listen to you about what you want. Like, can you just spit out my code? Like,
so that's interesting. So the guy who talked about his wife in 1943 today being so beautiful, he uses Alexa. And for instance, he'll say, Alexa, play Tom Shattuck and like get ready. After Tom Shattuck, I want to hear these 5 songs. And it sets it up for him. He knows how to do it. And so it's like, it's doing it. And Alexa, I used to think 10 years ago when our friends had it, was a pain. And just like, what a waste to have to vocalize this stuff.
I saw a really crazy like Reddit thread that I actually bookmarked this and saved it for later because this person was saying that they quit cigarettes by having an LLM like coach them through it. Trish is saying in the chat it's conversational or creepy. But basically they said like, can you pretend that you're like a therapist and you're gonna like hypnotherapy me into quitting cigarettes or whatever? And they were like, I was able to quit and it was fine. I mean, what could go wrong? But at the same time, like it's cheaper than therapy.
Well, what about...
And by the way, what could go wrong? But also a lot can go wrong when you talk to a lot of therapists too, because a lot of them suck also. So
No doubt about that. But what about, Alice, what if it's a way to prevent having an emotional affair? What if, you know how you tell me...
Is it not an emotional affair?
Well, it's a robot. But so, like, when you remember, you tell me, and this is the same. This is like every guy who's gone to marriage counseling. It's like you need to listen to your wife talk about stuff that when she's mentioning it. So sometimes you'll mention like.
You want me to start talking to my chat GPT so that I can fulfill all my emotional needs?
But you'd mention just really, really useless things, and I would say, what would I say?
You'd say. The first 3 digits of my sister's phone number.
Exactly. In other words, what you were saying
and
was so
this hand motion.
What you were saying was so mundane, and didn't. Not that we don't talk to each other all the time, but
about things you want to talk about, though.
Well, or the things that we want to talk about. But some of your stuff is very lame. But so you could have this thing like listen to scoop up all the useless conversation you have, which would be a service to me.
True.
Which would just be like unbelievable. You could go back and forth when Steve talked about your William F. Buckley stuff about the sysadmins or whatever yesterday. This thing could talk to you all day about that.
True.
That would be fantastic. My thing would be, it's funny because my thing that I talk to would not really take much back end stuff. It really wouldn't. But like, what would?
But do you think you could talk to a chat GPT and have it coach you out of like needing alcohol or pasta at night?
No. Coach me out of it?
Yeah. I bookmarked the thread. I'll send it to you.
I don't need alcohol or pasta. I could coach me out of really wanting both things?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be a carrot or like. When I was single, the times I most would behave is if I was with a woman. Because I couldn't let her see the real me. Mm-hmm. Or could it
I like the real you, unfortunately, for both of us.
Yeah, no, we've got a what's that called when you both partners are feed into each other's bad? It's dysfunctional,
kind of
but it's
toxic something.
Yeah, it is. But here's the thing. I don't know. I haven't talked to anything like that. I mean, I've dealt with the little virtual chat things, and those are usually a little bit off.
Yeah, no, this is pretty good. This is like not.
I don't know if it's using.
If you don't like it, you can tell it to be different, and it will.
I don't know, but how about this? How about what if people? I'm not saying that there'd be an uncanny valley problem, but what if people? What if this creates a migration to the analog world? What if people, maybe it would do that. Maybe it's unnatural to have super efficiency at your fingertips at every moment. All of it happening in with ones and zeros, really, to be honest, in one way or another. Maybe people want to walk into a florist that smells good.
Yeah, but you also might be able to have more time to walk into florists if it's taking a bunch of work off your plate. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the future is for people's jobs, but... And not to say, like, I still do think that you need people, at least right now, today, we still need people to, like, shove them in the right direction, sort of. But, I mean, I don't know. They're certainly more useful than a lot of humans that I've worked with at work.
Sure, and just
I mean,
it's
like,
just attitudinally, and none of them need
exactly.
smoke breaks.
They're not, obviously for the companies, they're way cheaper too. But I mean, yeah, there's no attitude. Like, things come back to you right away. It's easy to use. Like, it's not always right, but it's right enough of the time that it's certainly better than bad employees. That's what I can say. Like, and there's lots of people who are well-meaning, but like don't know how to do stuff.
Well, I wonder if, and now it's just a personnel thing, because I look at my radio station. The radio station I work for, WTIC, it's a news wheel. So there is top of the hour news, bottom of the hour news. For morning drive and PM drive, there's traffic as well, and that's a real person.
Do you have weather still, or no? Has that been?
There's weather in there somewhere. I think that's in canned, but there's weather in there somewhere. But there's no element there other than the traffic guy he's got a great personality. There's no element other than what I do. There's no element that can be totally duplicated.
Well, because you cannot be duplicated because you have kind of an unusual personality as a person. But what a lot of like between the music DJs do can absolutely be duplicated. I mean, we've seen that. We listen to that. What's that podcast that you listen to where they played those voice AIs that are able to read a news story and then talk about it like they're a podcast?
Yeah, was that Blocked and Reported or
no? It was
Fifth Column.
No, it was the other thing. The like guy who invented podcast guy or whatever.
Oh yeah,
what's that show?
The No Agenda podcast.
The No Agenda podcast.
Yeah.
They were playing with that, and it's not like gonna do anything really original, but it's as good as, you know, like normal talk people who are playing rock music and then say a few things or in the break, or like a morning show where they just, you know, talk about the sort of innocuous, not controversial news item and like joke around about it a little bit. It's as good as all of them.
It's interesting. And I wonder if, like, let's say using my show, if I could, because there are, you know, thousands of hours, I think, of my show posted. If you tell it to go learn everything about what I say, and then if you can do a facsimile, you could probably do the voice. But I could make it better. What if I say, okay, don't say etc. 6 times. And when these calls start to get boring, keep interest, even though in truth I may be looking at Twitter. And say, do better than that, AI. AI Tom, please.
Yeah.
I wonder, it would be interesting. I mean, the thing is that to do my job, though, they're interacting with callers, and so you'd have to have
that technology is going to be there though. That technology is going to be there though, because as we covered on the All You Can Eat podcast, a bunch of fast food places are investing in technology with AI companies to do drive-through ordering and stuff on their own.
I get it, but it's a little bit different. Usually, you're not trying to debate the person at the drive-through.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they can do talking online and answer questions and go back and forth in a convincing way, then they can do it with a voice in a convincing way, because that's just the voice reading the words.
In other words, they could do NPR actually in a second, and they could do almost all of it. They could certainly do NPR just by listening to NPR, and then they'd have the NPR progressive opinion in there as well. Yeah. I find it interesting. Try to think of like who wouldn't it affect. To me, what would be really great is if I could hold out, like both lawnmowers are broken. One I also drove the car into. So now it's been broken and it's been in a car accident. And it's shattered now. The driving lawnmower is just a mess in so many ways. I know the battery's dead. Like, I don't even want to tell the guy who came here and fixed it last year. It's like, you don't remember last year? Well, it's 10 times worse. But in like the drive in the push mower, the drive belt it broke off. Broke. I have a drive belt. I have a push mower. I don't know what to do. I would be more apt to build a rocket ship and explore the cosmos than I am to ever fix that drive. I cannot do that. If there was any way, any middle, I know that AI could figure it out by knowing the model number, but if it could do it, that's what's missing. The middleman.
Well, Elon's working on like humanoid robots.
Right.
So
Right. It's so okay. So
Well, and Trish says so many in the department refuse to come into the office. I bet AI would come to the office every day, including Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, that's the thing.
Oh,
is
yeah.
It's like when you see these stories of the government efficiency stuff, the Doge things that Elon's doing and getting into, this is, if we stay the way that we are, I don't know if Doge is going to wreck America, but I know that it's not an option for us to continue to run our country the way that we are, with the type of people who work at the RMV in no-show jobs, getting rich in DC, doing things the slowest, most impossible way. Like, the entire Obamacare website debacle where an entire company got a huge government contract to build the thing and didn't do it essentially in like 4 years. We just saw a guy do what that company failed to do in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like, so if we continue to do stuff this way, which everybody in Washington, D.C. would love nothing more than to continue doing things this way as long as humanly possible, we're doomed. I don't know what's going to happen if we let Elon Musk run amok in the federal government and fire a bunch of people, and including the only locksmith who's ever lived in within 100 miles of Yosemite National Park. But this is like, if we keep going the way that we're going and we have this entrenched bureaucracy that refuses to change anything they do. Do you remember your friend in Vermont, who I love, by the way, she's awesome, but when they told her that she was going to have to learn a computer at her government job in her early 50s, and she was like, no. And that she just retired and now like has a pension, whatever. I mean, like, that's the way the whole government is. We're going to, they're
literally
we
using
can't
these
survive in this world that's coming,
right?
If we won't use a computer and are still like writing things with a pencil and paper, like that's what this is the equivalent of.
Cobalt, which I understand is from the 60s.
But this is but from the 60s. But we're about to like accelerate in a way that we haven't seen since like the internet came on the scene. This is going to be like, doing forms in what's that paper, carbon paper, where they're like, instead of like a photocopy machine. That's like where we are.
Yes,
if our government,
what was it called? You guys will know.
It was like 3 colors, and
what was it called?
Peeled them off.
They used to smell. The teachers used to have it in the back room. It was the. Come on, Trish, you know what this is.
But it's crazy, like that our government. If our government continues to function this way in 2025, 2026, 2027, like, America's not going to be a going concern. That's just a reality. Like, I don't know how that will happen or whatever, but we need to adjust to the new reality. And some things have made us adjust. Like, we did a lot of infrastructure, like stuff, factory, industrial capacity stuff in World War II. We did a lot of stuff in the space race, science and tech wise, that like dragged our government out of the past. Like we have to adapt to the future, not in some dumb government way.
Can you see if somebody found out? Is it a hiring machine?
Mimeograph.
Yes,
that's what Trish is saying.
Here we go, Trish. Yes. But another problem we have with just the structure of our government and our society is that a lot of these things, which the Chinese have automated now, a lot of these things, let's go with the post office.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are just jobs programs. So what are we going to do here? Are we going to, universal basic income is coming down? Because...
Yeah, why are we doing this when Amazon does it so much better?
Well, because according to the Constitution, only mailmen can reach into your mailbox.
I know. That's one thing you find out if you ever work for a political campaign and you go door to door knocking flyers, and people will be like, can you just leave it in my mailbox? And you're like, no, I'm sorry. It's illegal for me to put this flyer in your mailbox by hand because I'm not a postal worker. Technically, your mailbox is not yours. It's federal property, which is why we refuse to fix ours. And it's hung on by a bungee cord for the last 5 years.
It's on a 45-degree angle again, which means they're going to they're going to stop
They're
it.
going to leave us a nasty note about how we have to.
We also have not greased the mailman ever. We've never tipped the guy. We just never see him. We never see that guy. We got to tip this guy. I'll throw him a hundy so he leaves us alone, because there are other mailboxes in the town that are decrepit. So look, I understand that we have to overhaul all of these systems that we have going on. Obviously, there is no reason ever to be walking into a brick and mortar DMV. Ever. There is no reason why we're doing that. That said, what are all those people going to do? Miserable, bureaucratic DMV people.
Well, yeah. And so that brings me to like when I said that, I don't know, I think there's still going to be jobs for lots of people, but these things are certainly way better than having bad employees. You know, there used to be a time.
Oh, I see. I see.
When any moron, and we both worked with like some of the most atrocious people ever on occasion, like lazy, bad attitude, like rude, all the things. And so one time I worked with this manager in a store when I worked in retail, and she made the schedule in Excel, but she didn't know that the Excel like could do anything.
Yeah,
like,
it's just boxes
like
to her.
she just wrote all the numbers of hours that each employee was working and then added them up with a calculator. So it's just a program that makes rectangles. Like
I would have thought that. I got to be honest with you, Alice, until I met you.
But like you would have thought that it wouldn't have occurred to you that if you typed in all the employees' hours, that somebody might have thought of a way that the computer sitting in front of you would have some way of coming up with the total number.
It's not my strong suit. It's one of not my strong suits.
Yeah, but I'm saying is like ChatGPT knows that Excel can add things up, for example.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't need health insurance. So, I mean, like, there's
no
way
have
it's not going to impact jobs for a large class of society. And the truth is, you know, we talk about like a lot of manufacturing jobs being gone and stuff. These sort of like, not that they're low skilled jobs, but they're jobs that like some people were able to do that they don't necessarily have other skill sets, right? Like working in factories or miners or whatever, right? And the truth is that, like, yeah, we've replaced some of those jobs, and there's a lot of great jobs out there still for people who are like plumbers, electricians, like a lot of the trades, carpenters. You are able to get really good jobs out there, but still, a lot of those even are like higher skilled than some of the factory stuff that used to be out there that's not anymore. And the truth is that we've replaced a lot of those jobs with Social Security disability, which is a hard truth that nobody wants to talk about, is that a lot of people have just like gone on Social Security disability and like checked out, you know? And so it's, I think, but we're about to see all of middle management type people also, like, are we going to put them all on Social Security disability? Because ChatGPT is better than them?
But let me go back to when I worked at the Boston Herald, and there was times when me and the editors in me were all managers. That's really all an editor is. It's a manager of people. In the newsroom, that means you're managing reporters, really. And some reporters would go sideways immediately. Some would get caught up in the union, start asserting they would say their rights, be pains in the asses, wouldn't want to go to certain places, would just totally go sideways. And talking to the editors one time, they called those dead bodies. And you look around the newsroom, and there's 40 people in there, 15 were dead bodies. You're getting zero production out of.
You're getting worse than zero production. Right. You're getting not like anti-production out of a lot of those people. They're dragging your workplace down, and
they really couldn't be fired.
Our government is like 75% those people.
Right, but they really couldn't be fired. So like what we've got here is what this is going to do is going to preserve the dead bodies and fire the people who actually do the job, which is not just. Which means that the people who will be left in the newsroom are the dead bodies who can't be fired and Grok.
Yeah. So what are we going to do, though? I mean, Splash in the chat says lots of people shouldn't have jobs. I'd be happy if we could just have half the country on welfare and weekly see them when they get loaded into a U-Haul and shipped to Houston on my 600-pound life.
Well, right. Well, there's universal basic income. Is that we kind of just holster half the workforce in the country and say, here's your pittance and learn to shop at Aldi. And that's it, I guess. And can I do that?
But isn't that gonna like breed a lot of resentment for the people that like don't have to shop in Aldi and like have more than the pittance?
And no matter what,
aren't they going to be like oppressors and people are going to complain that like not enough of them are certain races or whatever?
What it's going to do is make the guys like Daggert more popular. Guys who forbid technology on the docks. So your dock workers still are unloading everything by hand. There's no machinery.
Right, and they're making like $185,000 a year.
It'll create more of those guys who have a chokehold on the country. And for them, it'll be great. See what they did? See what the flyover tolls did? Now your toll takers are gone. They're out of work. Let that be a lesson to you. You know, toll takers should have shut down the roads. I mean, that's what it'll be. It'll be some fight in the streets with where you're going to need the Pinkertons, and I don't even know which side is the Pinkertons anymore if this happens.
I think they were the private police forces. They were the mean guys who cracked down.
No, Alice, I'm familiar with who the Pinkertons were, which is why I brought it up. Actually.
Okay, just check. Who's the Pinkertons?
It's the.
I'm confused.
What I'm saying is that okay?
I assume you don't know stuff.
Let's move to some of the video and audio highlights. Where are you on Dan Crenshaw?
I kind of think
his star burned out, man. He was where to be about 9 years ago. And first, you know, his bitchiness about having a stock portfolio, he is the man.
Yeah, that was a bad look for him.
Yeah, his star has fallen. Anyway, he gets caught on a hot mic. This guy asks about Tucker Carlson.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. If I ever meet him, I'll fucking kill him.
What he said is, we talked a lot on Twitter. If I ever meet him, I'll effing kill him. Which is now Tucker has responded.
Was this at CPAC?
It is, yeah,
okay.
or something like it. So Tucker has now responded to this and asked him to do an interview, which puts Dan Crenshaw in an impossible position because if he doesn't do the interview, Dan Crenshaw has now Adam Kinzingered himself.
Yeah, and like, why? There's no reason for it.
No. Earlier today, I saw a bunch of people, of course, on all the Facebook pages, the community Facebook pages, thrilled that the Philadelphia Eagles said they're not going to the White House, saying, "Yeah, awesome, we support you." And now it turns out that the Eagles have not rejected a White House invite.
Mm-hmm.
The reports have gone viral on social media, and they're fake news. It's amazing that this news got so big and traveled so far, and nobody.
Because it's just pure confirmation bias for them.
Right. But, like, nobody vetted it. Nobody. It was too good. It was too positive in the hearts of all these people, the confirmation bias people, to ever try to look it up. It's amazing. That fake Donald Trump guy who, in New York, who hounds Robert De Niro, he hounded Alec Baldwin, which is a gutsy thing to do. Because
it could go sideways with Alec Baldwin
is wound tight.
Alec, I will offer you a total pardon, because I want to be friends, right? I want to be friends. I will give you a total pardon.
Baldwin is trying to unload the back of his SUV. The Trump guy is standing right there hounding him.
For murdering that woman. If you kiss the ring, Alec. Kiss the big, beautiful ring. Come on, Alec. Come on, look at Alec Baldwin, right? He did that impersonation of me.
This guy is lucky that Baldwin does not have that same gun with him right now.
Not too hot, not too good. But look, we're back in...
By the way, I'm going to notice something. I am now on Team Alec Baldwin. I know he's a leftist crazy. I like the idea that he punches the crap out of the paparazzi and
like
protects
people
his
who
wife.
show up bothering you.
Yeah,
when you're just doing your thing.
I'm also, by the way, there's some people who are so talented that I think they should be forgiven for everything. I'm going to include Kevin Spacey in this. I don't care what he did. He's too talented. Get him back.
Harvey Weinstein?
I don't know that he's that talented. But Alec Baldwin, too. He's like maybe the best comedic actor the country's ever had. I don't care. And also, while Trump is hounding this guy, Baldwin is handing a dude helping him with luggage a whole bunch of cash. I like that. I'm on Team Alec Baldwin. You are in clover with me, sir.
Office, you lost. Kamala lost. She's somewhere getting intoxicated. Look at that suitcase. Unbelievable. Well, Alec, if you don't want that pardon for murdering that woman in cold blood, you can call it first degree, you can call it whatever you want, but it was not good. She's looking down on me right now, smiling, happy.
So I
Thank
gotta
you
run.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I thought it was 8:30.
It's 8.
You sure?
Pretty sure, yeah. I put it in the calendar for you. Did you check the
Oh,
calendar?
damn.
Fronting the man who took me out, who killed me, and that's okay.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
No, you realize, by the
Whoa.
way. No, look at me. I want you to
Yeah,
look me in the
sure,
eye.
sure.
You know, you got a camera on me here?
The ring, no, it's the ring.
But you realize my kids live in this building, right? But I want you to know something.
We love the children. We're doing great deals for the children.
Listen to me real careful.
Okay.
If this camera wasn't here, I'd snap your fucking neck in half and break your fucking neck right there. So you know that, don't you?
Okay. All right, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen, class act. Believe me. Believe me.
I want you to get out of here.
Okay.
No, I want you to get out of here.
Oh, he's yelling at me. I'm a citizen of this. I was born and raised in New York City. I love you, Alec.
I'll take the
Alec,
camera and I'll shove it
look,
up your ass.
Alec, you don't want to attack your favorite president, Alec. Look, I love you. I love you, Alec. He's got more balls than De Niro, that I can tell you. De Niro ran away. Alec confronted.
I got no problem with anything Alec said. And no problem with anything Alec Baldwin said. Let me see what we've got for chat messages. I didn't know we'd gone this late. I apologize. Oh, maybe there's none. Maybe there's none. Here we go. That would make it, that we wouldn't miss Alice, because if anybody calls out Alice, no, I think there are none. So we're not missing anything with Alice. Well, how long have we gone here? Because there's more audio I wanted to get to. 40 minutes? Okay. Let me see what else I've got here. Quickly, I'm glad we got to the Alec Baldwin thing. The other thing is 79% of Americans surveyed do not want. Hey, Alice! 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 Key fob. I get the key fob. She's going to hear this. 9% of Americans do not want men who identify as transgender women to compete in women's sports. Okay. Let me just text Alice. And which brings us to the Mills thing, the Janet Mills in Maine, going up the president against us on this. People who are dying on this are sacrificing their political careers for their transgender in sports stuff. These people are making a monumental mistake. Hopefully they'll all be swept away from this. It is just absolutely gross. Here's Jane Fonda at the SAG Awards, I think.
What we create is empathy. Make no mistake, empathy is not weak or woke. And by the way, woke just means you give a about other people. A whole lot of people are going to be really hurt by what is happening. And even if they're of a different political persuasion, we need to call upon our empathy and not judge.
There you go. That's from Fox News. Here's my feeling on empathy is that Jane Fonda was happy to motivate the North Vietnamese, the NVC, by hanging with them, flirting with them, sitting on their cannons during Vietnam. She was happy to motivate them to drive bayonets further into 18-year-old Americans' chests. She's a POS and always will be. MSNBC canned more people. Ayman Mo Yeldon, Katie Fang, Jonathan Capehart. Jonathan Capehart is a dumb small brain. I'm all for it. Whack 'em, and whack 'em. Hegseth not taking it from reporters.
Couple questions, go ahead. Why did you select an underqualified retired lieutenant general to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? I'm gonna choose to reject your unqualified question.
The reporter said, why did you select an underqualified retired lieutenant general to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs? It's the press being bitchy. He should have been bitchy right back. Trump was good with Macron. They both messed around today. Macron actually challenged him a little bit, but Trump was good with it. And Starbucks is laying off 1,000 people. Meanwhile, okay, I guess we'll wrap it up. There's more. That's all I think. Who wants to hear from The View? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I enjoyed today's show. It was a little bit different, and we get to different stuff sometimes. You guys are fantastic as usual. Oh, there's a new food show out. Going to try to. I am sensitive. about letting people down with the food show, even though it's impossible for Alice to do it on a consistent basis. So for me, it would take me to get somebody else to do it with me. The children don't really want to do it with me, and it's very tough to do alone. It's really very conversational. Let me know, by the way, if you want to be on the food show. If you have time around in the morning, we could do it. There is a woman who I met at a party last summer who I intend to reach out to do some with her. John Sapicetti's always good. VB's always good. Just let me know. Thank you for everything. You guys are fantastic. Appreciate it. Please do follow us on social media. Actually, you don't have to follow us on. We're not that good at it. I guess my Twitter account is pretty good. Alice is okay. Follow us anyway. Who cares? It doesn't cost anything to follow anybody. We appreciate, by the way, Patreon folks. That's really great. We appreciate it. We love you all. You guys are fantastic. See you later.
C'est la vie.